Okay, I decided to re-record my video using game capture. I finally figured it out, so let's have a look here. So here's Cyberpunk at 4K. You can see the resolution there. Let's go through some settings here. Let's turn fidelity effects off and we will crank the settings up. Let's just start with Ultra. Fidelity effects doesn't need to be on. Ray tracing off. And let's check our FPS. So it looks like on Ultra, we're not getting the best frame rate. Ultra 4K. This is, you could play at this, but I would not enjoy this whatsoever. And there we go. So if you want to play Cyberpunk at 4K with this device, on Ultra, just throw it in Ultra and put on Ultra Quality DLSS or Fidelity FX, which will give you still really good imagery. So that's Ultra. You can set this, to auto or balanced or something along those lines, which will give you even more frames. However, you can see the tree softens, and so does the building. But again, that's at a distance. So up close, things still look great. So if you want to play this game on Ultra at 4K, you can throw on just auto FSR, Fidelity FX, and just play at above 60 here. We're consistently at 60, no problem. Looks great, plays great, no drops. If you want to have slightly better image quality, just throw it on to Ultra Quality, and this is basically, it looks basically how it did natively, and you're still getting above 30. This would be closer to console level, like a Series X or a PS5 if you set it to quality mode. All right, let's just turn on ray tracing and just see how it looks. It's not going to perform very well in my opinion, but you never know. We'll just turn everything like that. So you can see that's quite poor there. Ultra 4K ray tracing, it's just not really there, even with Ultra Quality. Let's put this to auto. We might get a few more frames here, but I suspect it won't play well. Yeah, I mean, we're below 30 here. Okay, so if you want to set it to high and you don't want to use something like Fidelity FX, you're getting around 30. You could certainly turn that back on again. At this point, we could probably get by with Ultra Quality. Let's see here. Yeah, now we're well above 30, 40 or so. You could certainly play like this. You can turn it up a little bit higher. Now we're back closer to 60 again, 60 or 70. So really it doesn't, if you're going to be using Fidelity FX, you can just turn it on to, for example, auto, and crank the settings up. Okay, so here's just native 4K on medium, no Fidelity FX or anything. We're above 30 now, statically above 30. You could play like this, I guess. It's going to be like console experience. Console, quality experience. This looks kind of like what it did on the Series X. Something like this, I would say. But again, you could turn on Fidelity FX. Again, you probably wouldn't need auto. You could do Ultra, I would assume. You should get, 50 or so. You're almost up to 60 now at times. 50 to 60. This is very playable. So medium. Okay, so here we are in Cyberpunk on 1440p, not ultra wide, just standard. We'll just put it on ultra settings, no ray tracing, and just have a look. So ultra settings, it looks like we're around 50 or so. Okay, let's turn on Fidelity FX and have a look. We'll put it on auto first, which is going to be a little bit blurry in my opinion. Yeah, it's blurry, quite blurry. But you're getting, 80 frames per second on ultra. I would not play it like this. Let's turn it to ultra quality, which should still look good, but we'll get a few extra frames. Yep, so this is a good way to play it, in my opinion. You know, you can just play it at 50 frames per second, just ultra, just play the game. If you're worried about dips in that, put it on ultra quality fidelity effects, so you're not losing really any clarity. You can see the foliage still looks really nice. All the text looks nice, the buildings look good, crisp lines, everything up close looks good. But you're getting above 60. You're getting well above 60. You're up to like 75. Okay, so here we are in Witcher at 4K, Witcher 3 at 4K. Let's check our settings here. So 4K right there, and let's just, you know, everything's on ultra. I'll just leave it on ultra. There's no need to go lower. Now again, this screen can only handle 4K at 60. So anytime you see 60, that's not a limit on the GPU, that's a limit on my screen. So if you had a 120 hertz 4K screen, you could probably get more, but okay, so this is I guess a difficult scene here with all these bushes and stuff. We're dipping down slightly below 60, but I mean, this is basically 60 FPS gameplay. Get some chaos here. Yeah, even with, there we go. Now we're dipping down a bit when there's a lot going on. But yeah, let's set it to high 4K. And just see what happens with chaos in this situation. In this situation here, let's see. Peak for Cyberpunk and Witcher combined at 4K. Again, we never went above 75 degrees. So my take is this is going to be a 65 to 75 degree gaming machine. Even with the hardest, most challenging games, you know, you should be around 75. We were at 100% utilization there. And the GPU was, you know, the CPU was being used. So under stress tests with CPU and GPU at the same time, you could probably get a bit higher temperatures, but overall, you're looking at 75 degrees, probably around peak for the GPU altogether, averaging lower than that, obviously. And then your CPU is not even close to that high, at least with gaming. Okay, so here we are in The Witcher 3. Let's have a look at the settings here. We are at 1440p Ultra. This is my 1440p non-ultra wide screen. And looks like we're well above 60. Getting into, you know, 85 frames per second. So I know games like this graphics card is just going to breeze through them like it's nothing. Okay, so now we're at daytime, just so there's more people out and about. And it's raining, so we have some more effects going on. We're still well above 60. You know, we're up into 80s. So, I mean, 1440p, this game is just not challenging to the GPU. It's not even maxed out, so, you know, you could, there's no problems there. I don't know, we can put it to medium, just see what happens. I don't know why you would do this, but I guess you get more frames. If you put it to medium, there you go, now you're getting 100 frames per second. I guess if you really want high refresh rate over clarity, you could do this. We're at 80. Let's crank the settings back up and see what it looks like here. Go back to ultra and high. Yeah, Yeah, 75 in the worst spots. So let's see if we can get some explosions and stuff going on. Yeah, so when there's lots of chaos going on, we're still at well above 60 max settings, 1440p. So I wouldn't do any funny business. I'd just crank the settings and just play the game at 1440p. Okay, so here we are in Resident Evil. You can see here that we're at 4K. Ray tracing is off. It's not my thing. These are all set to medium. I basically just set everything up until I maxed out the VRAM. It's a 12 gigabyte VRAM. You can see in the red there. We're just below 12 gigs, 11.24. So really, really high up. But we're not using Fidelity effects to start. So let's just see how it looks with basically maxing out that VRAM and maxing the settings that we can get under that scenario. So VRAM's up quite a bit, 75%. GPU's not being maxed, but it's pretty high up. CPU's not being blasted that hard. But yeah, this is one of the first games that I've seen that will actually utilize the VRAM, which is really nice. I don't have any more bullets, so... Okay, so here's Resident Evil 3. The graphics here are set to as high as they'll go. We have 12 gigabytes of VRAM to work with, so this Fidelity effect stuff's all turned off. 144 hertz is the fastest my screen can go, highest refresh rate, and then that has to be at 6. If you put it above, technically it maxes the memory. We can put it on and just see what happens. It may freak out, but our VRAM is not being utilized, at least in this scene. So you can see there the FPS is well over 120. It might dip down here and there, but I don't suspect that we're going to ever have problems staying above 60 on a 1440p. This graphics card is just more than capable of playing this game with very high refresh rates. Is this bulletproof glass? Apparently it is. There you go. This guy's still alive, or dead, whatever you want to call him. So here we are in Grand Theft Auto 5. Everything maxed out. We have all the, I'll just check the settings here. We're at 4K here, and everything's basically maxed here. I can't do above 60 hertz, so we're not going to get above 60 frames per second. That's the limitation of my screen. But let's have a look. So lots of VRAM overhead here. GPU is not being maxed. And it looks like we're sitting at 60, so I guess 4K 60 max is doable. Okay, so here we are in GTA 5 on the 1440p screen, not the ultra wide, just the standard one that I have. And graphics maxed out. 1440 hertz is the max this one can do, so we can get a lot more frames in theory on this one. And it looks like we're get out of here. Looks like we're getting a lot of frames per second here. Well over 100. Game looks really nice actually at 1440p. I've never played this game. I've only played it on a 1080p screen way back in the day. Looks great though. There's nothing really we can, we can't tax it anymore. There's no more challenging settings other than upping the resolution on another screen. So yeah, I mean, this game is really nothing to this GPU at 1440p. What the? It's my car. Okay, so here we are in Battlefield 5. I don't have 2042 or whatever it's called, so this is the most recent Battlefield I own. Again, 4K. This is max settings. Yeah, it looks like we're not getting a static 60, but max settings, 4K. We are getting 60 or so, about 50 more or less.
I modified them a bit in all. So yeah, that's them all right.
Yeah, so we're on high now, in theory. Okay, so we went from ultra down, we dipped down to high now, and let's see if it's smoother. Okay, so here we are in the new Halo Infinite. We'll do some online. I haven't actually played the campaign. 60 frames per second is the max we can do, as I mentioned before. We're just going to go ultra presets there. Yeah, we'll just go ultra. Again, we're not going to go above 60 because this is a 60 hertz refresh rate monitor, so we cannot go above 60. It's not possible. If you have a 120 hertz screen, you'll be able to do so. But as long as we lock 60, I'll be happy. You can see here that the GPU is only being at 50%, despite being at 4K ultra. So personally, I suspect if you have a 120 hertz refresh rate screen, you'll be able to get, maybe not 120, but something closer to 120 locked. If the GPU was, at 100%, I would be more worried, but, this is no problem. This game is extremely well optimized, so we'll see what happens when there's some chaos going on, but okay, so this is a good candidate for a screen that's a high refresh rate. This is a 144 hertz 1440p Dell monitor that I have. Settings are all maxed here in Halo Infinite, and we'll just see how it plays. I suspect we'll get well over 60. I'm not sure if we'll get up to 144, but we should get pretty good refresh rate on a 1440p with this graphics card. Yes, we're well above 60. Looks like we're at up to about 80 or so. If you really wanted to play, I guess, with closer to 120, 144 frames per second, you'd want to drop the settings down a bit. But you can just max it out and get good frames. I played this game almost not at all, so I really suck. Well, I suck at FPS games anyways, but I also don't know what I'm doing right now. All right, so here we're going to do some Tomb Raider. We'll, again, 60 hertz is the max I can do on my 4K screen. Alright, so there you go. If you have a 60 hertz refresh rate 4K screen, I just max it out and just play the game. 144 hertz max. This is the 1440p non-ultra wide that I own, and everything looks like it's about max. So let's play it. I don't even know if this game is demanding, but somebody asked me to test it, so kind of looks like post-apocalyptic future thing. Oh, it's one of these. Oh wow, okay. I guess that's an AI or something. Skip the intro. I guess that's a bad guy? Some kind of monster?
It's a risk, but I'll get us more later. Our military system, check. Braid wires and rust, check. When I flip this switch,
Oh, I guess I died.
you're a type. That means you're fighting. So be ready, as we're deep in enemy territory.
This game looks kind of neat. I've never played it before. Anyway, so it looks like it runs really well. Over 100 frames per second, no problem, 1440p. I suspect if we put this on 4K, it would run around 60.
If your tracker blinks, there's trouble with
Wait, what? Oh, left. Oh, there you go. I mean, oh, it dipped down to about 90, but it looks like it runs extremely well with max settings, no problems there. Okay, now I'm going to test out Destiny 2 at 4K. I actually have Microsoft Flight Simulator downloading in the background, but none of the games I've tested, even the most challenging ones, have even remotely taxed the CPU. Okay, so we'll turn up the settings here. So that's 4K right there. Max 60 FPS, we can't go above that. It's not possible with my machine because of my screen. And here we go. Let's test that out at 4K.
Careful. You're all around us. It's a risk, but I brought you back for a reason, Guardian. You're a Titan. That means you're a fighter. So be ready. We're deep in enemy territory.
Yeah, so we're definitely dipping down below 60. Let's change the settings then. So I mean, you can definitely play at 4K Ultra, but you will see some dips down to 40 or so. Let's turn this down a little bit. Let's just go with high. That should be fine. So we'll just turn the settings down 1. Turn that back to high. And let's see how it works. Okay, so here we are at high. Again, we can't go above 60. But let's just see if it's able to maintain a static 60 here.
Stay focused. If your tracker blinks, there's trouble nearby.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want to maintain a static 60 at 4K, just throw it on high. If you don't mind dips here and there, down to 45 or so, you can certainly play it at max or whatever. But this I'd probably play like this. Then you just get a static 60. Again, if you have a 120 hertz screen, you could probably get more because it looks like we're sticking at 60. So you could definitely go higher.
Speaking of pirates, there's a loot cache. Let's take what's inside.
What? Just turn them up. Okay, so here we are in Valheim. If you've never played this game, it's extremely demanding. It's kind of a killer game. So, no, let's not do that. Let's check our settings here. 1440p, frame rate limit we can just put to whatever. and just max everything out. Let's see how it plays. This game is incredibly demanding, so I don't suspect much over 60. Now we're getting 85. This is a fairly demanding area with like fires and stuff going on. Fires seem to be one of the more demanding areas, so there we go. Dipping down to, there was a really brief drop there, but it looks like we're still above 60, so 1440p, max everything, you're going to get above 60, which is really all you can expect from this game. My 6900 XT would get more when I was using that on my desktop, but this game is very challenging, especially on laptops. Yeah, so now we're up to 80. So yeah, just max it out and just play at 1440p and away you go. I have fast internet, but not that fast. So 4K looks pretty choppy here. Yeah, you can see like the world is kind of loading in not adequately. There we go. High end. Let's try high end. See how that works. Apply and save. Okay. That's already a lot better. Still not, not the best frame rate, but it's close to 30 now, and it looks fine. You could play it like this or simulate it like this. Yeah, so you could set it to, rather than ultra, just set it to high, whatever that was, high end. And if you want the most beautiful landscapes you can get, I'd probably go that route. There's a little bit of hitching there. Medium. Let's see how that looks. Could certainly play on high end, but medium might be the way to go. On 4K at least. Yeah, that looks a lot better there. So now we're at above 30 frames per second on medium. That looks a lot better here. You could certainly do this here. The game looks great. Low end, we'll just see how that works. Okay, now we're up to 45. 50, wow, okay. So here we are in Microsoft Flight Simulator on my 1440p monitor. And this is ultra settings, which is what it recommended. So it looks like we're getting 25 frames per second. You notice that a bit when you pan the camera. There's a little bit of jankiness outside. It's not bad, but I mean, just like that, the game looks incredible. You could certainly play it like this on ultra. Just get its really beautiful scenery and just kind of explore. So let's go down to medium. There we go, 1440p on medium. All right, now we're getting what I would consider good frame rates. So above 30, we're at 36 here. This is how you'd want to play. It's significantly smoother. When the camera's turning there, it looks fine. There's no jankiness. Yeah, that looks substantially better when you pan the camera. It looks much more natural. So this is where I would play with this card. Medium is probably the best spot to put it, I would say. Let's try low end and just see. I'm assuming we'll get pretty good frame rates here. Yeah, now you're closer to 60. I mean, the game looks kind of the same, I guess. Maybe when you get closer to the surface, it'll look different. You might even want to just play it on low end and just, get close to 60 frames per second.